for couples regarding wedding video, you need one. Okay, we got that established.
Everybody should know, if it's not on video, it never happened. And today, I'm here with Brian Dillon, videographer, and the man who coined that line here in Brevard County. How long have you been shooting weddings here and capturing people's memories?
My first wedding video that I professionally shot was 1996.
Wow. And a lot has changed with trends, with gear, with how weddings are done for the most part. Kind of tell us a little bit of where things were back then and how they've come and kind of where you think we're headed.
Back in the mid-90s when I started, everything was tape to tape. There was nothing digital. A/B roll editing was the standard. If we could get any computer-generated graphics for titles, it was the bomb. You stood out right away just because of the equipment and technical advantage in that.
Wow.
I love the technology because I hated shooting on VHS tape knowing its limitations. It's nice to have all of this newer technology with spectacular imagery.
Did you start capturing weddings, or did you have a background in video and content creation before that?
My background, I had a bachelor's degree from University of Montevallo, and within 2 years of graduation, I got employed by Pruitt Real Estate shooting properties. And in 1994, I got hired by WBSF TV 43, and I worked in their production department through 2000. I had people that would bring us some wedding videos asking if I could fix it. So it was, shot poorly, whatever the problem was, and then they come to the experts wanting us to fix it. Well, you already know you can't really fix something that was shot poorly.
Yeah.
But then I finally had the guts to ask, how much did you pay for this? And it floored me. And I said, I need to get into the wedding business because number one, it's good money, but number two, they need good professionals that can justify that expense.
And it's all about solving problems, right? Solving those problems on the day. And that's kind of the difference between experienced professional, and somebody just with a camera. So kind of you have seen lots of people kind of come and go. Tell us about that and maybe some of the horror stories that you've heard or had deal with in brides.
Well, I've had many opportunities, like you said, and it took me a few years of stressing out and being anxious and wearing it when I go out to a gig before I realized you can't control everything. Nothing's ever going to go to script, and you just have to roll with it. And my goal became to come back home with as many great shots as possible. And I think it's even like in sports. The quicker you can forget a mistake, the better you're going to finish. So if you start dwelling on what went wrong, you're not going to be your best you when you're out there working for your client.
What's the number one thing that you kind of hear brides ask you about or think is a good idea, maybe is a misconception, and you're kind of steering them, back into something that's going to make a lot more sense for their day?
More and more brides and grooms are writing their own vows now. How tragic for that to just float off to the dustbins of their memory if it wasn't captured on audio. Same thing with the speeches and the toasts. My wife and I were blessed enough to be guests at a wedding a few months back, and they had the best toasts, just like their friends had spent days writing these beautiful toasts in recognition of them. There was no videographer, and there definitely wasn't a sound engineer on site that day, so hopefully they remember it well.
Yeah. A lot of people, I guess the trend right now is a content creator. Mm-hmm. And there are some brides who think that's a replacement of a professional videographer. And so that's somebody holding a phone and capturing, it could be 4K video. It could, the sensors and the computation in these devices is magnificent. The lighting's not great. You just whatever you have, as opposed to a professional videographer actually having lighting. And then the second thing, and a huge thing, like you said, is the audio. If you can hear it, it's going to be very bad, right? What's on board with these phones. And more than likely, the best you're going to get is like a music video out of it, right? Like it's just going to be, we're going to put some generic music. Somebody may watch it once or twice, and then it will be gone. It will never be cherished in the same way that a professional videographer editing and putting something together about that special day.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is you've got somebody that's out there busting their tail in effort for making your day a memorable one, and then where you can go back and relive it the rest of your life. That's much different than a content creator getting a few clips and glamorizing them.
If a couple does not hire a videographer to make sure that their day is captured, to make sure that the audio is beautifully technically captured, they're going to end up regretting it. But we see this time and again.
When they do the post-wedding surveys, the biggest regret is always not having the video. Their friends have told them, oh, remember when this happened and all of that? And it's like, no, I don't. I was on cloud 9 just floating through my day, and well, there's no video to pull out at that point. I would also say no one regrets doing the video.
Yeah. So Brian, you've been in the industry for almost 30 years. You've got to have some horror stories, some crazy things that have happened at weddings. You know, what is your go-to?
I've had events where the air conditioning went out at the reception. Nobody liked that. So that, you know, what can you do about it though? You can't just get a new reception hall day of. So they sweated and gutted their way through it. And, you know, I haven't had as many bridezillas as I've had momzillas. They seem to be the ones that on the wedding day just kind of get a little more stressed out, and they want everyone to share their stress. So that's where you got to smile your way through it and just be as peaceful, and hope your peaceful demeanor is going to be transferring over to them. You hope it's contagious. For couples regarding wedding video, you need one. Okay, we got that established. But look at their work. Find out who's doing great work consistently and who you can trust, who's reliable, and of course licensed. You know, you don't want to go with somebody that's a hobbyist. That's kind of a gamble.
So Brian, where can people find you? How can they get connected with you?
Well, it's DillonDigitalVideo.com is my website. You can find me on Facebook, Dillon Digital Video as well. If it's not on video, it never happened.
Well, thank you, Brian. I really appreciate it, and we'll continue to see you around.
Thanks for having me.